my secrets, nothing more. I checked the drawers, I checked the spikes, left me hanging in my Nikes. Last night we tore up the town, now my wallet's not around. Call the cops or play it smooth, pay my debts and start anew. Hey, hey, where'd it go? My cash, my cars, my flow. Don't you know what's gone? Now I'm broke from dusk till dawn. Dancing lights and screaming bass, drinks were flowing in that place. Left a tip but lost my grip, now my wallet's gonna slip.
In a world where financial advice is as blurry as a wild night of cheap Jell-O shots, clear your head and your monetary halitosis with the About That Wallet Show hosted by Anthony Weaver. Leave those Jell-O shots for the amateurs and learn to indulge in the top shelf bottles, baby. Now, here's your host, Anthony Weaver.
What up, everybody? Hopefully y'all are having a wonderful Friday Eve, because we finally made it. Can you believe it? And the cool thing about that we made it is that, first off, we made it this far without having any slight hiccups or issues or anything like that, in that we actually are one step closer to hitting our goals. Whether or not, if you had hit a road bump, you actually made a mistake, or purchased something that you really wanted to, or you took yourself out to eat and realized, like, man, I really shouldn't have taken myself out to eat this time. And I have to say that we all go through it. I've been through it. You've been through it. It's okay. So I'm here to let you know that, we got to adjust for it. We got to adjust our lifestyle, and also realize that, our finances is where it's at. So one of the things that I do want to talk about today, let's go on and get directly into the news that we have going on, because there's always something going on. So let's see what we got here. We have an expert debunks about common social media myths about saving debt and buy new, pay later type deal. So the interesting thing about this particular article is that the video doesn't match up with the article. However, the video is still good to listen to. So let's go on and listen to that right quick.
Americans are retiring earlier than expected, and it's not always by choice. The median retirement age in the United States is now 62, according to new research from the Trans-America Center for Retirement Studies. Nearly 60% of retirees told the research center that they stepped down earlier than age 65, citing either health issues, disabilities, job loss, or organizational change. Just 12% of Americans retired at age 65, while the remaining 30% reported that they're still working after 65. Joining me now is personal finance expert and the co-host of The Ramsey Show, Rachel Cruz. Rachel, good to see you. Thanks for being here. What is the current state of retirement in America right now? Tell us about the challenges and the silver linings.
Yeah, well, we're seeing that close to 50% of Americans are not even contributing to retirement. And we host The Ramsey Show, where we get calls from everyday people, right, that are struggling when it comes to their money, or they have questions when it comes to their personal finances. And so when we hear this struggle that people are really even to find margin to even fund retirement has been difficult. And so getting people in a place where they feel confident and that they have the margin within their budget to even fund retirement is the first step.
Well, I agree with you. This is something that I say all the time. The number one thing to do on your road to becoming a millionaire is very simple. Join your company's 401k plan. Put as much money in there as you can early on, and make sure you do not touch it. That is the number one rule toward becoming a millionaire. Am I right?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And so what's so great is that so many 401k programs, when your company has a match, to go up to that match, and then even use programs like a Roth IRA. You can put up to $7,000 in that per year. And that's tax advantage, right? So when you take that out, you're not going to have taxes on that. And if your company offers a Roth 401k plan, take advantage of that. But you're exactly right. It's a long-term mindset. And I think the issue is, especially for younger people, when we're talking to Gen Z and even some millennials, is retirement feels so far off that it almost feels like you're putting money in a black hole and you're like, I'm not going to see that. And so I have to take care of issues today. So
That's
getting
right.
people in a position where they feel confident, where they don't have debts. So getting out of debt, again, is one of our big messages. And then to be able to say, okay, we have an emergency fund with some cash that's liquid in a high yield savings account of 3 to 6 months of expenses. And then beyond that, funding 15% of your income into retirement and starting with that 401k, Maria, like you're saying, is exactly right. And there's so many great options out there for people as well. And so to be able to go and talk to your HR department and make it consistent, that's the other thing, Maria, is the consistent investing. And then don't pull your money out if the market dips, because people freak out and pull their money out, and that hurts them in the long run as well.
Yeah, well, look, I agree on everything you just said, and I think this starts at home, okay? Become a saver. Learn what it is to become a saver. Every time you get paid, put a little away for yourself. Put it either in your 401k and then maybe create another bucket, which is your, mad money. Put it in there. Just become a saver. My mother taught me that. As a girl, I wanted to buy ice cream cones from Mr. Softy. She would say, "Sure, you can have an ice cream cone, but how are you going to pay for it?" It slowly but surely, it snuck in and it stuck to me that I needed to collect change in a jar. Become a saver.
Yes.
That's probably one of the most important rules.
Yeah, and I love that you're pointing that out too, because so many parents that are watching this, to understand that the environment you have in your home, the impact you make, is tremendous. So teaching your kids to work, for them to earn money, and then to teach them to give some, save some, and then spend some, right? And it's these rhythms and these habits, like what you're saying, is what takes you into adulthood. And then when you're an adult, changing those habits can be difficult, but it's possible. Right. So if you are someone that is struggling and saying, golly, we're living paycheck to paycheck, I don't have the margin, the beautiful thing is you get to make a choice. You have a choice when it comes to your money and what you do. And so that may mean a season of sacrifice. That may be a season of getting a side hustle to get yourself in a position where you have some financial margin. But that's the empowering part of this, is that with personal finance, you're the problem, but you're also the solution.
Yeah. All good. We're on the same page, Rachel. Tell your kids, teach your kids to become savers. It will yield great results in the end.
Couldn't have said it better. They did an amazing job with that, to kind of really hone in on what it means to actually start figuring out your stuff. And remember, like, you could also be the problem as well as a solution. And I wanted to harp on that because a lot of the stuff we do is based upon what we think is best for our financial situation. A lot of us don't even know where we want to go. We don't have a guiding light on what it is. We just know, like, hey, we just need to make sure we got food on the table, we have gas in the car, and I'm able to continue on to pay my bills. But there has to be more. And so in order for you to have more, you need to start realizing that there is more, and really start digging into, well, what do I do with this extra change? What do I do with this extra money that I have? And some of you are like, well, I don't even have any extra money. Well, you do. It's just got to figure out how you can make this work. Either A, you need to change your lifestyle and actually dig into what it is that you really need to kind of get forward, or B, just get off your butt and continue on to make it work, because it's not going to work without you. And Charlene, thank you for actually pointing out, to say that it took you a while to understand these financial tools. There are a lot of financial tools that are out there, and a lot of us really, they make it seem complicated so that a lot of people have a barrier to entry, so that they have to go pay for a financial advisor or pay some person just so they can start investing. And because they actually want to pay these people to start investing, it causes a lot of issues because everybody know what they're talking about. And again, you don't have to listen to a random guy on the internet, such as myself. But one of the things is that we all know, that you have to, first off, spend way less than you earn. That's the number one rule. And obviously pay yourself first. And it can look in so many different ways. And obviously a lot of people you listen to on the internet and so forth, that's talking about finances, if they're not talking about how to pay yourself first, or even put the money back in your pocket in some form of fashion so that you can live the life that you want to live, then they are not following the rules. It's the number one concept, very easy to follow. It's so common, it's common sense that you don't even need some. And it's funny that I actually picked up a book, I'll say several years ago, called Common Sense. And you see how razor thin this thing is. The reason why it's so thin is because it's all common. We all talk about it. No matter where you at, no matter what type of background you have, everybody talk about these different things. However, this book is just talking about the very hand wavy thing about the common sense about finances. There are some other books will actually give you direct examples and tools and stuff like that that you can actually utilize right now. However, this particular episode is really to kind of help you build that muscle by me showing you some of those tools and start going through how can we start adjusting your life and figuring out what it is that you need to be successful in your finances, or not even in your finances, but be successful in achieving the goals in a timely fashion that you wanted to achieve them. So, one of the things that we want to talk about is pretty much credit cards. I'm reading directly from the book. If you ever decide to get the book, it's on page 13. It says credit cards are good for convenience and emergencies, but be careful to avoid common pitfalls of plastic money. Pay off your charges at the end of each billing period. Otherwise, you may pay extremely high financial charges, which all of you already know because we all have been there to that point. We see that 13% or 17%, some of us up to like 29% when it comes to your credit cards. This thing is very important to make sure you take care of that. Second thing is that we want to start looking into the installment loans that we also get. Another area of caution, is very tempting for one to try to consolidate your money into these loans. And by consolidating them into the loans, it's not revolving credit. And two, you can actually get into a lower thing and people are like, oh yeah, you can just do the one payment thing and it makes life a little easier. But if you don't have that discipline with your credit cards to pay them off, getting a loan to kind of consolidate all of it doesn't help you. And unless you're very comfortable once you consolidate them to have that card and only use it and pay it off immediately while you're paying down the bulk of the debt inside that consolidated loan. I repeat, you have to be confident in yourself to not overcharge with that credit card that you freed up because you got the loan to consolidate everything. So remember, these are different plans of actions to try to get you where you want to go. Now, some of you be like, well, I don't really need a loan, but I do want to get into investments. I want to start investing in the stocks and so forth. I have seen this happen. I don't recommend it, but I'm going to just tell you for educational purposes only is that there's a possibility you could actually take out a loan, put it into an investment, which is considered an asset. Once you go down and invest it, you can try to get your money back, whatever, depending on how the market goes, and then pay the minimum amount. And then once you hit a particular threshold, you can pull out that loan, the amount of that whole loan, pay out that loan. Now you're living off the money that was the gains that was provided in that particular stock. Remember, this is not financial advice. This is just educational things. And this is pretty much what a lot of people do. So what is considered other people money, you are utilizing other people's money to make money. So that is one of the rules. But if you want to continue on using your own money to do everything, yes, use your own dollars and cents to make that happen. So those are two different skill sets. But the underlying thing is to be confident in your finances that you will be able to pay that all back. One of the things that I had something else up here. I think this can play. Let me share this tab right quick. Because this.
She's a friend of Cassie Ventura's who testified.
Yep, that's something else. Well, I wanted to see like how will the Trump tax bill actually kind of impact the dollars, because as we go through this, it doesn't even say anything.
Combs dangled her over a 17th floor balcony.
Oh, geez, that sounds pretty harsh. Let me go back. Let me just stop sharing altogether. Yeah. So anyway, having that self-discipline is very important. We need to actually understand our self-discipline, in order to get that, we need to figure out what is our guiding star. What is that goal that you want to achieve? We all have that feeling of we don't have enough. We're not worthy. When you sit down and think about it and you sit in your thoughts and you look around your property, just sit in your living room or sit in your bedroom and you look around and you're like, man, I got all this stuff. I have all this clutter. I feel claustrophobic. I got all of this stuff around me. How am I going to function with all of this chaos in my own space? And I call it my safe space when I can't even focus on anything else. So, if you feel as though you're in a rut where you feel like you're stuck, write things down. That's the best way to clear it out. Again, that's part of my bike method, part of the budgeting side of the house. If you're trying to figure out everything, you sit down and figure out, okay, boom, I need to outline everything. I need to put that in front of me to figure out what's going on. Now that I know what's going on, let's move on to the next level. Where can it take me? So, Charlene, you say self discipline and sometimes life lessons are some key tools to help that financial confidence, in my opinion. I mean, that's a fair assessment because one of the things is that, you know, finding that self discipline and really sitting with yourself to say, like, hey, these are my barriers in my finances can really impact the way how you view uh, your life, how you view your progression. And also, it helps out with the comparison model. What does it mean to really compare yourself? If you ever notice, I'm not sure if you noticed this trend lately, a lot of people who, the people that you see who don't care about what other people think and who feel as though they are like not looking for a status quo, they're not looking for accolades, they just being them. A lot of people look up to them. And I've noticed that as well, that I'm like, what are they doing to kind of block out the noise? I'm more interested in seeing what are they doing to calm themselves down throughout the noise and not feel like they need to fit in. And that's very important because when you start digging into your finances and your issues, is that nobody can tell you what to do with your finances or what to do with your lifestyle because they not paying your bills. They sure not giving you a handout. And I had a lot of people, like, just for an example, I think I was at work, like there was a small conversation that was going on. And I'm like, just saying hi to everybody. And then somebody was like, hey Anthony, baby got bigger shirts. They got shirts in the men's sizes or whatever, inside of little boy size. And I was like, interesting. Are you gonna pay my shirt? Are you gonna buy me another shirt? It was crickets, but everybody got a kick out of it. But I'm like, I could have just let it roll or not. But I'm like, are you willing to take some money out of your pockets and buy me a shirt if my shirt is too small? To them, to me, it was a fine shirt. I mean, I thought I fitted okay. And then everybody else was like, "Oh, you got a permit to carry those guns." And I'm like, I'm not a thick guy at all, and I'm not too well. I think I'm not too slim, but I'm a pretty slim guy. And dealing with all of that, not say negativity, but that type of energy. How do you actually navigate that? And really digging into how do you stay true to yourself and true to your North Star when you have a lot of stuff going against you? No matter, even though they might mean it in a fun way, it's also how you mentally to kind of handle that particular situation. And that is one of the things that is tough to realize from that comparison. What the heck are they talking about? And is this going to impact your lifestyle? And because, like, yes, I could have took that criticism to say, you know what, I need to throw this shirt away. I'm gonna go buy myself a new shirt so I don't have to get out it out again. But then something was like, well, he's not gonna buy my shirt. I like the shirt. I'm gonna wear it again anyway. And I'm gonna go up there next to him again. He can talk about it every time. At this point, I'm like, whatever. Um, oh, thank you, Charlene, for that. Yeah. I mean, this stuff is really tough when it comes to dealing with your finances and dealing with your self worth because people will make you feel like you're not good enough. Or, and when you realize that you're on a path that a lot of people don't travel and they just don't understand what's going on, the first thing they're going to do is criticize you. And then after they criticize you, they're going to sit around and be like, well, I like what they did. Let me go on and start copying on it. Because remember, like when I was, well, at least when I was growing up, it used to be a saying like, "Don't make that face, or you'll grow up and your face will be stuck like that," or something along those lines. And which goes back to why you being so different, because you might grow up and continue to be different. And so I'm looking back at it as a metaphor more so than an actual reality. So this is something that I would suggest to kind of take a look into. um you said the nerves. Some folks need to learn we don't have to have we don't have to always share our opinions. That is true. Because sometimes, even though we don't have to share our opinions, but we all love drama. We all put ourselves in those people's shoes in that particular situation and how we're going to operate. So, with that being said, I'm gonna do a small commercial break, come back, and then I got my slide deck to kind of go over all of this in a nice, concise way, so we can go on and take that deep dive. So. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Hold do. If I can even find my stuff, man. Like, 'cause I got so many commercials that I've been putting together. Let's do a trivia and then we'll come back. All right, all right. How y'all doing that trivia? Some of y'all might have seen it before, some of y'all might not have seen it before, but it's all right though. We gonna make it work. All right, so and we're back, and we done, and we got that, and I think that worked. Okay, so slideshow time. Let's see. Let me get to the slideshow. All right, so. Oh, this is nice. Okay. So I'm trying out so some of you have actually seen me use this tool before, and I went live talking about how you can utilize Canva in ChatGPT, and this particular app is called Gamma. So it's called Gamma AI, and the cool thing about it is that it can create slideshows in seconds. So I really love the tool, and I'm utilizing AI as much as possible. It's actually really nice and easy to set this up. Actually, I want to see if they got like little transition thingies. Nah, you put no transitions in. Okay, so The major topic for the day, which is to avoid the credit trap and adjust your lifestyle. So you're going to understand the personality is the first step to breaking free from debt. As members of the sandwich generation, you face unique pressures caring for both parents and children. So you already know that this is what we're going to get into. And the thing about having the credit squeeze or the money squeeze is that understanding that 48% of the sandwich generation adults um, have credit debt, and 30% also support both parent and children. Middle-aged adults providing financial support for both directions. That means that there is actually 70% out there, either A, only taking care of their kids or only taking care of their parents, or even just supporting themselves. So there is an option. So what they consider, and that's also a third option as well, which is that they might be taking care of their grandparents, their parents, and also their children. So that's also leaving them out as well. And those people are considered the club sandwich. If you never heard of that before, now you know. There's an open face sandwich, which is the people who are taking care of their children or just taking care of their parent. So those are the uh, open face sandwich generation. Now, also, you got to look into the 15% faster debt reduction. So, households that track their spending actually reduce their spending a lot quicker. So, remember, the squeeze is real. And, the rising costs of everything like that, from caregiving, the expenses, and also trying to figure out your credit utilization, which could actually lead to a lot of financial fatigue. I mean, how many of you right now are actually feeling tired of spending money? Like, I'm tired of spending money every time I turn around. Every time I step outside, it's like $50 here, $50 there. I gotta get gas to go to the place I want to go. Even just for a drink, it's like, all right, cool. It's like $13 for a drink. I'm like, yo, all you do is pour the drink and you want a tip too? Like, geez, maybe $1. Like, I just came here for a drink and some fries, and this is what I'm coming out with. So, but there are actually four types of people. There is the spender, there is the gambler, and there is the saver and the investor. So, we're going to go through those four different types of people in the sandwich generation. And the first person we want to talk about is the spender. The signs of a spender is that they have multiple credit cards. They love the buy now, pay later services, and they always upgrading possessions. So if you notice that somebody who's always got to get the latest TV or they got to get the latest cell phone, they always talk about they got to get the latest sneakers and stuff like that. You got to look out for those. However, remember when it comes to relationships, you got to figure out, are you really a spender? Or if you're a saver and you're dating a spender, you might not see eye to eye. So if you're a spender, it'll be easier to stay in a relationship if you're finding another spender. So think about somebody who always like to go to Disney World. If you both like to go to Disney World a lot, even though regardless of what happens financially, this is y'all thing, you will actually more than likely stay together because y'all both spend the same amount and y'all enable each other. The root causes of this is that y'all actually live in the moment, and it's okay. You spend to relieve stress and want to please others. So you got to think about that. Are you really buying the things for yourself, or are you buying things to impress other people who don't even really know you that well or don't really care? You have some solutions to kind of help out the spender. You're looking at the 50-30-10-10 rule, which is 50% of it is actually going to your household, meaning paying like your core for, which is your lights, your electric, you have your transportation, water, and food. So yeah, lights and electric, I kind of bundle those together. Then you got the 30%, which is on your wants, 10% for your saving, and 10% is for your investment to yourself. So you can pay yourself that way. Did multiple multiple lives about the 50-30-10-10 rule. So please check those out. You can do the cash envelope system, which is usually you like pay yourself first, then you got the investments or tithing, and then you have your savings. Like you can also do the envelope method. That is one way, or you can do I call it the digital envelope method or system where you can actually have your bank account actually have those different envelopes and label them different things. And so you just allocate money to those things. And also having automatic spending trackers. This is where you can actually make sure that your bills are paid on time when it comes so you don't have any missed payments, because if you're constantly spending, there's possibility that you won't check on that credit card until later, until after. So this is something that, you know, what happens. Yeah, the nerves of some folks need to learn that we don't have to always share our opinions. And yeah, that's right. Do you? Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's a lot that goes on into this. You got to protect yourself in this process. Okay. Now that we talked about the spender, start talking about the saver. So the saver, they actually have a large savings. So this is the thing that you can tell about a saver. They have large savings, no investments. They lack financial insurance, meaning lack life insurance, and they have no long-term financial plan. They just know they need to save. And a lot of people I've come across, especially a couple of my clients, they like were very afraid to even invest in anything because they saw how the stock market crashed. They lived through the stock market crash where they didn't have anything from a financial plan. They was like, hey, my financial plan is to make sure I save. They don't want to lose any money and they're very risk averse. So the root cause of this is that they actually fear of scarcity. It's just not enough out there. I don't know what's going to happen next. The anxiety about the future, and they hesitant to support dependence. Meaning, like, say if they have a child, say they are in the sandwich generation, they have a child, and they depended on them. They were like, "Look, you're not getting those fancy shoes. You're going to get the shoes that I can afford you or I care to pay for, and that's it. Or you getting the clothes, the bare minimum of what it is." And I would say more than likely a saver will also be a minimalist. They didn't put this in here, but think of them as somebody who's like, "Hey, I just need to save as much," because you never know. And they're very frugal, very to themselves. And I wouldn't say that they could be introverted. I would think they'll be more introverted, a saver. I'm not sure. If you're an extrovert and you're a saver, let me know. That's pretty interesting. So when it comes to solutions to kind of help out the saver, purposeful saving with goals. So this is helping the saver find a goal that they can actually achieve. So if they want to go on vacation, go ahead on and save it and allocate funds to that level. A high yield savings account, sometimes they don't think about that. And this is one of the ways that they can actually take advantage of what's out there and actually help their money grow, but also enjoy their funds a lot more as well. And one of my clients, actually, when it comes to the high yield savings account, which is funny, they never heard of a high yield savings account until they met me. And then I told them about utilizing like Marcus. Don't They're not sponsoring this show, but it's Marcus Bank, which is hosted by I want to say Schwab, and is it backed by Schwab? I can't remember, but Marcus Bank. And then they was like, "Man, this is the first time I actually had to pay taxes because I made too much money with my high yield savings account. Thank you for helping me out with that." And I was like, "Hey, no problem. Like, this is what we do." And then you got to think about they also have balanced, modest investments, meaning that it's very like flat, meaning like it's very safe, risk averse, and everything. So it's just like I'm investing, but that's about as much as I'm gonna get. And also saving is good, hoarding from fear is not. Balance savings with living and investing for long-term security. which is great. You know, if you're a saver and you trying to find another saver, I think that's the best way to go. Now here comes the gambler. If I can get this thing to move up, there we go. So the gambler, gotta love them. Okay, they are chasing quick riches and often leads to quick losses. They have a lot of side hustles and trendy investments and can't replace consistent financial strategy. So you need to think about this too. Uh, they learn from free resources like Investopedia for financial education. Um, the stable foundation, they automate small amounts into low risk portfolios and their risk management. They create a risk slash reward checklist before any investment. Now, think about it, the risk management. I think everybody should create a risk or reward checklist before an investment because it's almost like you want to make sure that you're doing the right thing to get things going. But so far, so for the three that I talked about, are you a gambler? Are you an investor? Or are you a saver? So I'm curious so far. Yeah, we did gambler, we did saver, and then we did so now we're coming up on investor. Okay. So for the investor, you know, their wealth growth matters, but neglecting liquidity and family needs creates new problems. Balance is key. So let's go down and start with the B side of the house, which is the budget. They track everyday expenses before focusing on investments. I mean, shouldn't everybody? But you know, it's okay. You got the income side of the house, which says they maintain a stable income sources alongside investments, which is good. Their knowledge is meaning that they research before investing, understand all risks. And then you have the execution, which is the balance growth with family needs and emergency funds. So it seemed like the investor would be great for the family, the anchor of the household. I would say that more women are actually investors than anything because they, one, and I'm generalizing here for the sake of this conversation. I usually don't generalize women, but just based on the conversations that I've had with a lot of women and also a lot of the people that I've interviewed, I think 80% of my interviews have been women. If not 85, 87% of the people I've interviewed have been women. So much so I had to create a whole category for interviews called Her Voice or Her Financial Story. Yeah. And so that because of that, like I would say like most women fit in this particular category. So that's my grassroots research on that. So we just went through those four. Okay. So here we go. So to build a lifestyle that serves you, not your debt. Your lifestyle should build wealth, not debt. Small daily choices create big financial changes over time. All right. So there's zero based budgeting, which means that every dollar has a purpose. Everybody knows that. The 50-30-10-10 rule leaves no room for error. Everything has a name, knows where it's supposed to go. You got accountability partners. One of the things that have a good accountability partner, it could be your spouse, it could be your friend, it could be a coach. If you need me as a coach to kind of be an accountability partner, hey, hit me up at info@aboutthatwallet.com. Let's go down and get you enrolled so we can go ahead on and start getting your accountability taken care of. You got mindful spending journal. So one of the things is record keeping. We all know that just writing things down and actually seeing it is a great way to do it. If you don't feel like writing everything down, just print out your statement, your monthly statement, and actually hang it up on the wall. Obviously, remove your account numbers and everything like that. But if you look at the actual transactions and how many transactions you do, I think this will be a great way to kind of check out and see what are your spending triggers, how often are you spending money, when are you spending money. Think about how are you feeling when you're spending that money. What was going on during that time frame? Why did you make that particular choice? So that particular journal, let me know. I'm thinking about creating a mindful spending journal. That would be something that um I wonder if I should just create it like digitally and you can just print it out on your own terms and have it available for download. I'll create it as a free thing for everybody. So just let me know if that's something that you would like to have. Because right now I do have the simple budget calendar, which is kind of similar, but I don't talk about your feelings when you're spending it. But I think this will be something good to add to that particular item. Like, how are you feeling that month about the money that you're spending? And then we got the financial sprints. So, like, try 30-day no spending challenges or cash only weekends. I mean, I know cash, they say cash is king, but also it's not the most convenient. So one of the things I'll do was say, as far as a 30-day, if you want to do a 30-day challenge, my 30-day challenge will be to track everything you spend it for 30 days. That's an awesome challenge right there. You let me know what you think. What is a good 30-day challenge that you want to try or have tried in the past and has it been helpful? So, let's see. We're going to talk about taking action. You know, this show is all about helping you create a way to take action today and not wait. And I hate when you listen to other like people online. It was like, hey, we gave you all this information. Okay, now join my class. So, or pay $500 just so I can tell you what to do, so you can take action. No, like just tell me right up front what I need to do to get the stuff going. And if I have issues, then I'll come help you out and or pay the additional funds to get out there. So the first thing you gotta do, take action today, okay? Know your type. Identify your financial personality to address specific challenges. We went over the gambler, we talked about the investor, we talked about the saver and the spender. You gotta know which type you are. Then you gotta start looking at resources. Download the avoid the trap worksheet for personalized guidance. That is something that I'm working on building. Then you got to book a session. You can actually book a session with me to go ahead on and start working things out immediately so that we can go ahead on and guide you on. Remember, just a financial coach. So I'm not a financial advisor or a financial counselor. So this is just me helping you make you decide on what you want to do. I'm just guiding you along the way. Now also share your knowledge. So start the money conversation with your family today. One of the things that I cannot stress enough is that you need to go ahead and share what are your goals are with your family because they are your dependents. You are their caretaker. So if there's something that's really hurting you or they need to understand, this is your time to actually talk to them so that they can make the right decisions. If you say, "Hey, we need to just say something that you need to get fixed around the house." Um, say that you need the walls patched or you need to get the roof fixed. Okay, you talk to a general contractor for the roof, how much it's going to cost. Now you got to talk to your family and say, "Hey, family, things are going to be tight right now because we got to get the roof fixed while it's the summertime so that when there is a huge rainfall or something happens, at least the family is taken care of." Let's go back to that 50% of your budget. How can you make that happen? And then also talk about how others can support that vision. What are they doing for that? You know? So the daily investing challenge. Lisa, you did do one of those. The 30-day daily investment. I think you did yours at $5, correct? I think you did like a $5 everyday $5 challenge for the investments, which has been fruitful for you. And I'm curious on how your constituents or your followers have been doing with their investments. Because if anything, like they say, it's not time in the market, it's timing the market. And if you're doing a daily investment challenge, because you're doing a daily investment challenge, they call that, what do I call it? Base budgeting. I think it's called cash based. I always forget the term. But ultimately, you're just throwing in whatever amount it is, and you're making it happen for that amount. You don't care about the stock price. You just like, look, I'm putting in my $5 a day to make sure I'm investing. That is my goal for 30 days, and we're gonna make it work. Um, dollar cost averaging. That's what it's called. I know you got, there we go. Thank you so much. It was I was like, what it is. So thank you. It's DCA, or dollar cost averaging. That is the term for it. Thank you so much, Lisa. And you said right now I'm doing $10 sale of VTI and Microsoft. That is amazing. Okay. So VTI, for those of you who are not familiar with it, let me go ahead on and look it up so we all on the same page. VTI. I don't even think okay. So VTI is a Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund, or ETF. So for those of you who are not familiar with ETF, which is exchange trade funds, those are, think about it when you go to the grocery store and you have the condiments aisle. You know you're getting all the condiments, right? You're getting your ketchup, mustard, you got your relish, whatever, your mayonnaise, all that. So think about the ETFs as your whole aisle, right? And you're getting all this mixed stuff in there. But when you talk about the total market index fund, because you're getting the total market, meaning you're getting that whole grocery store. The whole grocery store is in this particular fund, and you're putting to imagine just putting $10 into that investment. So whether or not the price of cheese goes up, but the price of bologna goes down, or the price of mustard might go up, and jelly might go way down, but it averages out. And so think about it that way, that you're getting the whole market, you're getting the whole supermarket. Like, that's the thing. So when they talk about total market, that's what they're talking about. Did I get that right, Lisa? Hopefully, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe I'm on there. Okay, yeah, I have a small. Okay, Charlene, you say I have a small take in VTI and plan to increase my holdings, if that's what you call it. Yeah, it is a holding. I mean, you hold your stock. That's the whole purpose of it, to actually get inside the market. And because you're actually taking that action, it's a start. And because you're constantly being in, whether it goes down or up, the whole point of it averagely is that you're hoping that you're catching the lows as well as the highs. Because if you look at it daily, like, because they do trade at the end of the day, which is interesting. So if you're coming in at $5, even though it's just a dip today, but if you look at over 5 days ago, you're actually up about 0.8%, which is fine. But imagine you're doing it all month long, you're up total 5%. That's just if you just held one particular $5 in there, you'll just be up 5%. But remember, you've been doing it daily for 30 days. So you're getting all of these gains and all these multiple drops. So you are winning overall. So I do think that $5 a day would actually be pretty nice. Because even if you look at it 6 months out, and you were just doing it for 6 months straight, you getting all of these lows, right? He's buying it so cheaply, everything's going on sale, and then boom, it just start increasing, and now you're like, man, I'm loving it. I'm making some money, even though overall in the 6 months it's down 3.2%, but you're actually winning because you already got all of these gains from. Yeah. So if I look at the lowest point from April 8th until today, you're already up 20%. So I'm going to zoom in right quick so you can see that. So just highlighting this portion, you up 19.68%. just from April 8th until now. So if you were doing that daily dose of just micro installments for your dollar cost averaging, you'd have been doing amazing work there. So, that's something that, that is a great challenge. Thank you, Lisa, for that, for sharing that. Okay, so this is the last slide here to kind of wrap up for the day. You can rewrite your money story. And what that really ultimately means is that you can't fix what you won't face. Face your money, face your money story, and rewrite the ending. So, all of the stuff you did in the past, it's okay. You're here now. Let's start looking towards the future. Start looking into your investments and start focusing on your future by taking action. So, understanding your financial personality is just the beginning. With the right tools and mindset, you can break free from the credit trap. Remember, financial decisions impact both generations you care for. So, create a legacy of financial wisdom without worry. All right. So, I want to leave that with you all today because that is something that we all have to realize that this is not just a one-time thing. I come on these lives every every Thursday at 8 because I care. Because ultimately I could say, you know what, I'm tired of talking about the same things over and over again. However, we need repetition in our lives. We're human. We make mistakes all the time. And that's one of the things that we got to remember is that we're human. We like things. And if you think about it, we are just in a sandbox on this earth to play around with the toys that we will more than likely won't get to see anymore. So I want you to be the best version of you financially, regardless of what it is. Even if you're the first person in your family to even save $100, or even the first person to start investing, or the first person to start looking into investments because you listen to the show. If that's the case, let me know. I'll be psyched about that. I've had some of my clients say like, "Hey, I just saved $100 because I listened to your show," and I was so pumped for them because they could have listened to anybody else, but they chose to listen to me. And I don't take that lightly. Like, this is a lot to take. This is a lot to handle. However, with patience and taking your time to trust yourself, and this is what this show is for, to help you build that confidence. And the way how you build that confidence is by taking action. You can read all the books you want to, but if you don't take any action, it's still a dream. So I challenge you today to first figure out what is your guiding light, your guiding star. It could be, hey, I ultimately want to be financially free to retire, but what steps do you need to get there? So let's start thinking about what are the first things you got to do. If it's, hey, I need to get my house in order, you got to throw something away. Start there. Think about like it. Okay, here we go. This is my scenario. Then I'll end it up. Say your guiding light is to have a clean house. The first thing you got to do is obviously look around, take inventory. What can you get rid of today? And I challenge you to just throw that one thing away. Whether it's a pair of clothes that you've been looking at for a long time, but like, I really need to get rid of this. It's been around for like a couple months. I haven't worn it. Let me just give it to the thrift store and call it a day. Yeah, get my thumbs up. I wonder if all the little thummy things work, but whatever. Get that to the thrift store. Get it out of your house. So and then the next thing you're like, you know what? I need to sweep up. Go down and start sweeping up. Start tidying up your place. You need to make the bed. You need new sheets. If you got holes in your sheets because you didn't clip your toenails that day and you just rip your sheets, it happens. Just don't tell nobody though. It's just between you and I. Go ahead on and get that new fitted sheet. And get yourself some new sheets. It's like 20 bucks, $25. If you want some fancy sheets because you're always in bed, do that. But the goal is to actually start taking action towards your goal. And because you're taking action towards your goal, other people will see it. Other people will like to join. And a lot of people don't like vaguey people. They don't know, like, hey, what are you about? I don't know. I just living. When you have a sense of purpose, people will see it. They will gravitate towards it. They want to be part of it. They want to see you grow and be successful. And I want to see you grow and be successful. So once you find your guiding light, share it. If you're trying to clean your house, clean it. If you want to clean your car, you got some old tissues that from blowing your nose because of the pollen and everything like that, and the pollen's a little light now, go down and clean out your car. Like, take action. I know I'm talking about physical things that you can do, but financially, you can start putting away $5. Even if you save it, open up a HYSA or high yield savings account. Put $5 in there. Start investing. Put $5 in there. You got the VTI, which is great. It was total market through Vanguard. Create an account. Put $5 in there. $5 could change your life. Matter of fact, that might be the title. I'm not sure I'm going to change the title for that this time, but I might do one for next week. I might call that the $5 challenge. Let me know if that's something y'all think will be interesting. Oh, before we go, if you haven't already, sign up for my newsletter. I have a $50 Amazon giveaway. So that if you want to get inside that drawing, I know some of you don't want to participate, but just fill out the survey because one, it helps me help you with my newsletter. And because I'm trying to get better and trying to provide more content. So go ahead on and go to aboutthatwallet.com/newsletter. And that will help out with getting some of that information so that I can actually provide more information. My lives could be different. My newsletter could have more value for you. And what else I'm going to do? Yeah. So that's mostly it. And also I'm gonna try to get more guests, and I want to make sure my guests are alignment with your business. And if you're looking for business owner or other business strategies, just let me know. I'm gonna try to make sure I get all those people in there and I didn't realize my podcast is actually like international. So I got a lot of people from international, like from other countries, reaching out to be on the show. So look out for those interviews. I'm super excited about those, super stoked. So man, I'm just so excited. So life is going to be great. Like for me, my goal is to kind of be able to have this podcast and I can do this all day. So my thing is to constantly be out there, constantly have these interviews, constantly meeting new people so that I can kind of give you the value that you need to impact it. And if you haven't already, go ahead on and subscribe as usual because it helps. It really does help the show. I'd be surprised that a lot of people actually find my show because of the likes and it's showing up on their feed and so forth. So thank you so much, everybody. I hope you all be safe out there and, all the best. You got what it takes. Don't give up. All right. I'm out. Peace.